Good evening, I'm Jeff Koinange, and this is Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski. And when you hear that sound, you know the show is smoking from the get-go. Why? Because on the bench today, for the very first time, the governor of county number 47 has agreed to come on the show. The hashtag tonight is Ask Kidero, because we want you to be a part of this show tonight. So start asking your questions. Many of you have already started asking, and it's going to be one of those shows because this past week, the news that's in the headlines, a building in Huruma. So far, 26 people dead, more than 80 missing, 5 days after the incident happened last Friday. The governor, of course, is in that capacity. A thankless job, if you will, where you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. So, since he's the CEO of this county, we're going to ask him that question, those questions, and many more. Is he planning to run for re-election next year? We'll ask him. He's in the house. His Twitter handle is at Kidero Evans. Mine is at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag we're using tonight, as I said, Ask Kidero. Start tweeting. Sit back. Governor Dr. Evans Kidero. How you doing, Governor?
Hi, Jeff.
Good to see you.
Very nice to see you.
Good to see you on the bench. You know, you've been avoiding me for years.
No, I've not been avoiding you. But it's nice to see a real bench. Probably better than the ones we used to have on the third class railway coaches.
Which you never took, of course.
No, I did, of course, during the holidays on concession.
You rode third class?
Third class. 6 shillings and 20 cents return, Nairobi Kisumu.
No
Nairobi.
way, no way.
Yeah.
And now you own the train, right?
Of course not, they're not trains. Until the standard gauge starts operating.
All the way to Kisumu?
Yeah.
Are you going to take that when it comes?
Of course. Yeah.
Are you going to run for re-election?
I think, probably let's go back to what you say, that these are thankless job. It's a thankless job for mercenaries. But for missionaries, it's a great way to give service to your city.
Are you having fun in your job? Do you like your job?
I love my job because I add value and make a difference.
Do you really?
I do.
Do you really?
And I feel, to a lot of people who see the value I add,
okay,
and the difference that I make.
Okay, yeah. Difference that you make. Governor, you are one of the last people to appear at the Huruma disaster building site. You were one of the last. Where were you?
I wasn't one of the last. I was out of town, but you'll remember that when it happened, which was at about 10 o'clock.
Friday night.
On Friday night, I was out of town. The emergency department were there within 6 minutes. And that's the general time that our response time is. Our ambulances were there. My medical team was there. And we started the coordination.
Were you keeping in touch with those people?
Of course. From the very moment it happened, my deputy governor was there fasting in the morning.
Yeah. And the president was there before you, Governor. The president was there before you.
Oh no, that's fine. We share the city with the president. I talked to the president before he went there. He wanted me to go with him, but I was away. I told him I'm on my way back.
Where were you?
I was out of town, and I came back. And as soon as I got in, the first thing I did was to go and see people who were hurt at the Kenyatta National Hospital. 26 people dead so far, Governor. More than 80 missing. Day 5. Jeff, is very, very sad and very, very unfortunate. There are more than 26. So far, we've lost 29 people,
okay.
11 children, 4 female kids, 7 boys, and 18 adults, 13 male and 5 female. So we've lost a total of 29. 70 were admitted, and out of the 70, 61 have been discharged. So we have 9 who are still in hospital.
And 80 still missing.
Is very, very unfortunate. But let me just add that probably this is the worst we've had, because this is not the first time this has happened.
Right.
In 1996, we had the Sunbeam tragedy on Moi Avenue, where we lost more than 10 people. In 1997, at the Uchirika estate on Juja Road, we lost a number of people through buildings falling.
But Governor, this is the worst disaster under your watch. It's the worst so far.
It's the worst disaster. It's happened during my time. But I think it's important just to get a little bit of history that we've had a number of disasters, but they tend to be concentrated in given areas, and there's a history to that. And that's why I was trying to give you that history. It happened at Sunbeam, it had happened at Juja Road, it happened in House of Manji, it has happened in Kilimani, it happened on Ronald Gala Street in 2007. Last year, 2014 in December, it happened in Makongeni. Then in January, it happened in Oruma within a period of about 3 weeks. And then we had one in Roysambu in the middle of last year. And the last one was this one.
Yeah.
But you find that they tend to be concentrated in what you call, what used to be the site and service schemes on the eastland side of the city. And the site and service schemes resulted from Urban 2 development, which was signed between World Bank in 1978 and the city of Nairobi, the city of Kisumu, and the city of Mombasa.
Yep.
And the unfortunate thing that the standards of construction on Urban 2 were lowered to be less than the normal standards.
But Governor,
But unfortunately,
yes.
Instead of maintaining these buildings to be single story, which is what they were meant to be,
right,
they've done 4, 5, 6 stories.
Yeah, and why do you allow that as governor? I mean, this building in particular was marked X 3 times, scheduled for demolition.
This building was never approved, Jeff, and it was built between 2008 and 2012. There was no county government then.
Yeah, but who are you going to blame? Are you going to blame...
No, let me just say, but we together, when the president gave an order that we look at the buildings, we looked at them, and 2,600 buildings were marked, and 70 were supposed to be brought down. But it takes a while because there are people on it, and before you get these guys out, and even this building which came down, which was on riparian land,
right,
actually we had marked it was going to come down, and I could show you a letter.
Okay.
And I could show you a letter.
Yeah.
This is a letter which was written on the 24th, where we were confirming a requisition of equipment
To break it down.
to go and break it down.
And then what happened?
It took time for the equipment to be
Okay,
gotten.
Governor, what is the designation of a building if it's on riparian land? Because
Yeah.
this one is so close to Nairobi River. Is it 15 meters away from the river, or what is the law?
It depends on the last high level of the water, but generally is a minimum of 10 meters.
And this one is flush right on the river.
Completely. And there are 3 others which we are going to bring down. Actually, we marked 6 buildings which will be coming down in the next 3 to 4 days.
Are you going to make sure of this, Governor?
We are going to make
before
sure
the
that
next
that
rains?
happens here. I'll tell you the reason why we'll do that. Because when the Sunbeam building came down,
Yeah.
there was a commission called the Mutiso Commission, which was put into place. And then when the Ronald Ngala building, the Kihonge building on Ronald Ngala came, there was also a commission which was put in place to review the building laws and building plans. Nothing happened. And this is in 2008. 2013, the Ministry of Metropolitan did review. And the last one is when the president, this audit which was done. So there's no more time for audits.
Governor, what do you tell the families of the 29 people who have died? What do you tell them? You're the governor, you're the CEO of this, the most powerful county in the land. What do you tell them?
Jeff, when I went to hospital, these are not just bodies and names. They are family, they are the parents, their mothers, their kids who had a lot of future. And I had a chance to talk to somebody who was in and out of consciousness. And when he opened his eyes and he saw me, he recognized and said, Kidero, he's called Martin Owino. He told me, Kidero, I'm going to die, but please look after my children. So these are people who have a life, have a responsibility, have families, have friends. They're just not names. It's sad. What has happened should never have happened. And we are going to make sure going forward that this thing is stopped and stopped once for all.
Did Owino make it?
He's still in hospital. He has not died. He did not die.
What's to prevent the next tragedy, Governor? Because there's so many disasters waiting to happen. You see them. You were there in Uruma. You saw those buildings. You saw how people live. What's to prevent the next disaster from happening?
7 out of 10 people live in informal settlements. 7 out of 10. They don't live in informal settlements and in unsafe buildings because they like. It's because that's what they can afford. And treacherous, greedy business people take advantage of the desperate situation that a lot of people have in need of housing, and take shortcuts and put up buildings that are unsafe. And it's our responsibility, and that's provided in the Constitution, in one of the articles, that we must make sure that every person lives in a safe environment.
There's a couple of people who were dragged to court. I think the architect or the engineer, they were dragged to court along with a couple of your officials, and then they were given $1 million bail. Has anyone been sacked? Have you relieved anyone of their duties?
Of course. The chief officer has been relieved of her duties, the chief officer of planning. Because
is she the one who approved that building?
The building was never approved. The building was in a riparian area. There was no application for it. It was never approved. But our failure was our inspectors when the building was being done. And I don't have to remind you that this was before the county government time.
So what are you saying? You're blaming Kisia, right? That you want to blame Kisia?
Let me just say that an institution, it doesn't matter who's there. Laws are laws, institutions are institution. CAP 286, which the Physical Planning Act was there then, it should have been applied. So a building should not be allowed to come up without approval, proper approval.
Yeah, and there's people watching you right now in those buildings on illegal television screens or whatever, but they're watching you in this and they're living in buildings that are about to come down. You know that these buildings are going to come down.
I know that. I mean, I've just if you look at your phone, there is we just sent you a message.
I saw that. Yeah.
We've given a notice on the 6 buildings that are leaning. The notice is to the tenants, and the notice is to the developers, and the notice is to the landlords that they must evacuate. The buildings must be evacuated within the next 3 days.
And if they don't do it,
we will take them out.
You move in.
We'll
move in and you physically drag them out.
Absolutely.
Will you do that?
We will. We will. Because we'd rather fight than start dragging bodies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Do you think there's a young kid who was pulled out? How old was the kid?
7 months.
7 months old.
Yes.
Do you think there's more life in there? You think there's still people who are alive?
We must keep on hoping that there are people who are still alive, and that's why the rescuers and the people who are helping with the rescue operations are there. We want to hope and we want to keep on praying that of probably the more than 60 people who have not been accounted for, we'll still find some alive.
Yeah. Governor, I want to take a break, but when I come back, I want to ask you, is there anything other than Kidero grass you've done that you can wave your flag at in your city?
I'll tell you when you come back.
You sure?
Sure. Sure.
Are you running for governor again?
Of course.
Are you running?
Of course. I'm a missionary, not a mercenary.
Can you beat Sonko?
Oh, I think it's for Nairobians to decide, but I know Nairobians want a missionary, not a mercenary.
Maybe they want Miguna.
I don't know. I mean, if they are missionaries, yes, Nairobians will consider them. But if they are mercenaries, then absolutely they have no chance.
Are you the mercenary?
No, I'm a missionary.
Oh, you're missionary. Oh, okay. I keep forgetting. All right. Let's take a break, Governor. Come back. Keep tweeting. The hashtag is Ask Kidero. Please ask your questions so that we could ask the governor. This is your opportunity to talk to the chief executive of county number 47. Dr. Evans Kidero is on the bench talking about the city of Nairobi. Twitter handles are at Kidero Evans, at Koinange Jeff. The hashtag again, Ask Kidero. Somebody slap me. Oh, not really. Jeff Koinange live at the Villa Rosa Kempinski takes a break. We'll be back in. Governor, I'm kidding. I'm kidding, man. I'm kidding.
How long was that?